Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up towards Stockholm here in Sweden once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery who you've seen me review a couple of different beers from now. So for this one we're going to head out to a little set of islands called Fjäderholmarnas, and we're having a taste of another beer from the Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri, and this is another one that they released on the 1st of December 2018, although they have released different versions of this over the last year or two, I believe. So this one is called Heavy Fuel. It's a barley wine coming in at 13%, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I've enjoyed the other beers I've had from these guys, the Dubbel Larsen, which was a double IPA, and also the Mr. Cocoa, which was their Imperial Stout. They released 3 beers at Christmas, which is this one, Mr. Cocoa, and also a barrel-aged version of Mr. Cocoa, and next year I will make sure that I can review the barrel-aged version. But very much looking forward to this one. I've not reviewed a barley wine in a little while actually, so looking forward to this especially, and as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri before. No doubt I will add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri then. So Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri is based on a small set of islands, as I told you, out of the same name, out to the east of central Stockholm. But this company was founded back in 2013 by Pelle Ågren and Andreas Willman. So both of these guys had previously worked for McMurray, which is one of the 3 whisky distillers that we have here in Scotland. Spirit of Ven and Box Distillery, of course, are the other 2. But they often talked about brewing beer together, and then they began to homebrew it, and eventually they managed to sort out a premises for their brewery in late 2013, and they were ready to open this up by April of 2014, and they're now joined at the brewery by Tobias Forsberg, who is their head brewer. So they actually have their own restaurant and bar, and this is in this really nice red, kind of classically Scandinavian looking building right next to the water. But this stops training over the winter months and runs from spring to autumn, but the brewery runs as a kind of year-round operation, and the brewery is located right next to the water, and apparently most of their customer base is actually tourists as well, which is pretty cool. So there's not that many Swedes seem to know about this this brewery, which is kind of interesting. Or I'm not sure if by tourists they mean Swedish people coming across to the brewery and having a taste of their beers, but hopefully it's somewhere that I can go to at some point fairly soon. But the brewery apparently has its own boat, but this doesn't solve all of the issues they encounter with transport as well. Of course, being a little island brewery, that can be a little bit difficult for them. But in 2018 they produced around 70,000 litres of beer per year. 1/3 of this was sold on the island, 1/3 goes to service the rest of Stockholm, and the remaining 1/3 goes to Systembolaget, of course, which of course is then distributed throughout the rest of Sweden itself. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. As I told you before, I've been very impressed with the beers that I've had from these guys. They remind me a lot actually of Malmö Taproom, the Malmö Brewing Company. A lot of their beers, I think, are in a kind of similar style. And one of the things I've always said about Malmö Taproom is that I would absolutely love it if they would bottle more of their beers, because Malmö Taproom always have some really interesting things there. But yeah, it's cool to see a brewery that kind of brew in a similar style, I think, getting their beers out there, especially when it's one of these really kind of random places in Sweden. And I always enjoy introducing you guys to more different Swedish breweries. So yeah, so just if you want to learn a little bit more about this brewery, then check out the brewery website. If you want to taste some of their beers, you can order them nationwide through Systembolaget, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and keep up to date with all the latest goings on there. But yeah, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. We can get rid of the brewery notes now and get on to the tasting. So yeah, as you can see, really nicely presented, this one. You can see that it's got the boat and the cranes and stuff on it there. I guess a symbol to the fact that boats, you know, usually use diesel and things like that, which is a heavier hydrocarbon. I think that's quite nice, the chemistry side of things. It says on the side here, heavy fuel barley wine. In your hand you have another year's offering of the heavy fuel barley wine. We brewed this for, this particular one has been brewed in July of 2017 and thereafter aged until today. We wanted to create a classic British barley wine with a lot of corn malt and East Kent Goldings hops, which is an English hop variety, of course. We also added cornflakes and also frosted flinger is like, it's sort of like little grains or whatever. But this compare this to, it's similar to our fine red wine. The barley wine can be aged for many years. And this beer is very dark but also quite sweet, and serve with roostemper, they serve at a kind of, I think that's talking about serve it at a kind of warmish temperature. So yeah, I'm serving this one I guess about 8-9 degrees, which is maybe a little bit cooler than it should be, but yeah, it should still be alright. And it actually says here, this is batch number 2, so I'm guessing that this one was just introduced last year, and it says best before the 25th of the 9th. 2168, so they're suggesting that you can age this beer for 150 years. I might have to buy another one and just, well, I'm not going to last that long, but I might have to buy one of these and just age it for a long time. But yeah, really nicely presented beer, this one. That anchor symbol that you can see there on the front of this, that is the Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri symbol, and there you can see that is also on the bottle cap of this beer too. So yeah, let's just see how we get on with this one. Very curious to see how it turns out. I like it when you get Christmas and you get all these really heavy big beers coming out. A little bit of smoke on the opening there, as you can see. So let's get this out and into the glass. I don't think we're going to get much of a head on this one, right enough. But yeah, I'm guessing that this one will, just on the basis of what they said, this one will be more of an English style barley wine than the American ones. The American ones, as I've always said, tend to be a little bit more they tend to be a little bit more sugary and fruity, whereas the English ones are a little bit more bready and caramelly, but also mainly a bit more roasty, to be honest. But yeah, as you could see with this beer, it did have a tiny little bit of head there, and I would describe the colour of that being mainly a sort of fawny note, but at 13%, you know, you're not going to get much out of this beer in terms of carbonation. You know, it will be just a big kind of boozy, oily side of thing. But yeah, as you can see with the colour on this one, I would say it's a really bright kind of blood orange colour. I'm not sure how well you guys can actually see the colour on this one. I'm seeing on the camera control down here that the bottle actually looks very dark in this video. Nothing I can do about that, particularly without getting lots of glare and stuff like that on the camera. But yeah, it looks like a really nice dark blood orange character, colour, this one. There's a little bit of a hazy note to the beer, 1 or 2 big bubbles there, and a lot of bubbles just heading up towards the bottom of that head. But you know, overall it does look really quite nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Oh, that smells good. That smells really good. Now, I was really impressed with the Mr. Cocoa that these guys did, and the Dubel Larsen. You know, these guys are a very solid brewery. I really like what they are doing, actually. It'd be cool to go up and see exactly what they're doing. They did offer to do an interview and a little brewery tour and stuff with me when I actually do make it up to visit them. But straight away with this beer, you're going to notice the big boozy notes of this. At 13% though, you wouldn't expect anything less. Lots of caramel in this one. It has got a little touch of a treacly molasses sort of thing. It smells like a well toasted caramel, to be quite honest with you. It does smell like a fairly well fired beer, this one, although it's not in the sense of black. It's these brown sugars that are really nice and toasty. But yeah, sweet caramel, treacle and molasses in there, a little bit toasted. It almost has a little bit of a kind of medicinal quality to it, you know, like kind of cough syrupy sort of thing. It's got a little bit of that kind of note to it. You can pick up a little touch of earthiness from the hops, from the East Kent Goldings, of course. It does have a little bit of that sort of English herbal earthy sort of thing to it, this beer. And there's a sort of, to me, there's a little bit of a peachy apricot-y note to this beer, mainly more of an apricot, and a little bit of that kind of orchard fruit, you know, a little bit of an apple-y, peary kind of thing. But at the same time, you're getting a little bit of a red fruit, you know, a sort of kind of candied red fruit, figgy, maybe even a little touch of a raisiny sultana kind of note out of this beer as well. But to me overall, it does smell really nice, and it reminds me a lot of like Calpol or something like that, these cough medicines that you get. But it smells very, very nice. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But I think this is going to be a really quite interesting one. But at 13%, this will be an absolute monster, I'm sure. So yeah, without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. This is the Heavy Fuel, the barley wine, released on the 1st of December every year from Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri on the Fjäderholmarnas Islands just to the east of Stockholm. Let's get stuck in. Slanja, skål. Oh yeah, that's a nice beer. Make no mistake about that. That is a really just very, very well done beer. Thumbs up to Fjäderholmarnas again for this one. I need to try some of their other more regular beers. I tried the Dubbel Larsen because I saw it on one of the releases a few months back, and I was told that these beers are very, very good as well. So I just thought, you know, it's winter, I'll pick up the two of these and review them. And this brewery, for me at least, they certainly don't disappoint. Their beers are just really, really solid. You know, they take these styles and they just do really nice things with them. I will say straight up, when it comes to English barley wines, I prefer the American ones. I've never been such a great fan of the I've never been such a great fan of English hops, to be quite honest with you. But when it comes to stouts and porters and brown ales and stuff, I like English traditional beer then. But when it comes to the lighter things, the golden ales and the bitters and stuff, I've just never been a fan of those styles. I've not had all that many different barley wines, right enough, or English style barley wines, but this is just really, really nice and well done. So, as I say, a big thumbs up to Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri for this beer. Yeah, I really like how everything's kind of coming across on this one. I hope you guys are enjoying this little mini winter series of beers that I'm doing, of course. But this is just this is a really, really nice beer. This one, they've done a great job with this. So let's try and break this down a little bit. So in the middle of your palate then, of course, where the malty notes are coming, you can feel a little bit of that pale malt quality, just, you know, blanket in the middle of the tongue. But on top of that, it's all about these lovely big brown sugary notes. You know, there's sweet caramel there in the middle of your palate. There's sweet caramel. As you go further out from the centre of your palate, you can definitely feel there's a little bit of the treacly molasses sort of thing, as the Americans would call it. That definitely comes out a little bit more. That, of course, is helping to cover up a lot of the boozy character that you're going to get from this one. It's just, you know, for me, this is just one of these beers that's ridiculously well done. And as I said, the English barley wines, I've always preferred the American ones, but to me, this is, they've done it spot on. So yeah, like I say, lovely big brown sugary notes. When you go further forward on your tongue a little bit, you do get a little touch of a kind of woody note to the beer. There's also a little touch of a nutty note in there, but they're very kind of, they're quite subtle actually. I'm not getting much in the way of a biscuity note from this one, although that said, the further and further I go into the aftertaste of this beer, it does have a little bit of this kind of woody undertone to it, which is very, very interesting. I like how this one comes across, and I think as you age this beer, it's going to get even better. I think, to be fair, I'm drinking it probably really quite fairly fresh actually, but even when it's a fresh barley wine, it's really, really nice. But yeah, the whole mouth feel in this one, it really just feels as if it's infused a little bit with this kind of woody flavour, and you get a little bit of a nutty note further forward on your palate. I'm not picking up so much in the way of biscuit in this beer. It really is more about these big, syrupy, toasty brown sugars. In the back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward, on your tongue. You can feel the earthiness just kind of smooths out a little bit. There is a little touch of that herbal quality that you would expect from English hops, particularly these Kent Goldings as well. You can definitely pick up a little bit of that herbal note. A little touch floral on the front corners of the palate, then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy, I would say. But yeah, it's just a really lovely beer, this one. It definitely retains that kind of medicinal quality that I was talking about in the aroma. I have to say that about this one. So behind the front curve of the palate, you've got this nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer, and this one's, it's really interesting. It's got a little, as I was picking up earlier, it does have this almost medicinal quality to it. It's not phenolic in the same way that some of these quadrupels and doubles from Belgium can be. It's a little bit different from that. It's definitely got an apricot-y note to it, this beer. There's some candied red fruit in there. The further into the aftertaste you go, the more these apricot-y notes come out, and the more this kind of candied red fruit. I always say it's like these little heart-shaped sweets you get in the Haribo Star Mix. It always reminds me of that. But definitely some figs in there. There's a little touch of a raisiny sharpness, but sultanas, I think, is a good way to describe this one. The fruitiness almost comes out as like a sort of fruit cakey type thing, but this beer, like I say, it definitely has that element of kind of cough syrupy character to the fruitiness in this one. But for me, this is really quite nice. It's actually it's quite a bit sweeter than some of the other English barley wines I've come across before, so maybe it's more correct in terms of style to say that this one is somewhere between an American and an English barley wine. It does have the slightly darker brown sugars that you would expect from the English barley wine, and the fruity character is the same, but the level of sweetness and things in this beer is a little bit more akin to an English barley wine, to an American barley wine, sorry. So maybe it's best to call this one a very sweet English barley wine then. But yeah, it's a nice beer, this one. You know, you can't fault this in any way at all. They've just done a very good job. So like I said earlier, big thumbs up to the Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri for this one. This is a monster of a beer, and I think now I'm going to have a very good Sunday after having had this. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel, definitely a full-bodied beer. Carbonation is very smooth. Overall, the mouthfeel is quite oily, and you can kind of see that when you swirl the beer up. You can just see how oily the beer is from how long it takes these bubbles to get back down. Nice little bit of smoothness from the hops. This beer doesn't really have very much in the way of IBUs to it. Lovely big sweet malt base, a little bit of toasty quality in there, and some nice kind of juicy fruity notes as well. But overall, very nice beer, and I'm glad I was able to review this one for you. So I hope you've enjoyed my take on it. Yeah. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. As always, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri. It's been cool to return to these guys after a little while, but I hope that I can review some more of their beers. Check out my social media, and I will catch you guys very soon. This one was the Heavy Fuel, a really nice, very kind of sweet actually English barley wine from these guys out on islands to the east of Stockholm. But really enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on it as well. Until the next time, slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Skål.